All right, welcome back to Sorta Sophisticated. Could we say this is the podcast that would help you win at, do you remember Trivial Pursuit?
Yes,
I'm
horrible at that game.
Okay, I'd like to have a game night with you and I on the same team now. Do you think that this is
would help? Yes.
This would help.
Yes.
Okay, this is the podcast that would help you win at
Sorta.
Trivial Pursuit then. Perfect. Okay, I'm Pete, and that person who was just being awesome is Amanda. Hi, Amanda.
Hello.
Welcome back. Thank you for coming to the studio for one full year.
It's a full year.
You're
it's
the
our
best.
year-versary.
You're the best person.
Can you believe you've been doing it for 52 weeks?
I don't know if that's good or bad. Yeah, like on the one hand, yes, I can believe it. And on the other hand, I wish I was farther along. Oh my God.
No, we're
What?
good. We're
Okay.
good.
I need
52
some
weeks is a long time.
Give me some positive reinforcement here. I need it.
I know you were.
I know I'm
you
usually the
wanted to have
cheerleader, but let's go.
150 listeners
I know.
by a year,
I know. I think
which was very, very overzealous.
that was very aggressive.
And
Aggressive goals?
We should just say thank you to everyone who listens
Okay.
regularly.
Hey, thank you to everyone who listens. I really appreciate that. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. Yeah.
Mine too.
What
I love it.
what are we talking about today? What do we got on the agenda? Do
I
you
don't
have
know.
any idea?
It's almost May. So
I
like
know.
Cinco de Mayo?
Cinco de Mayo is on the agenda, people. That is it.
We're just trying to stay relevant.
If you must know, do you want to know the actual title?
Yeah, what's the title?
Okay, the title is Cinco de Mayo, tacos, tequila, and totally misunderstood history. Because you know I love my alliteration.
I do love alliteration, but I also
Tequila.
love tacos and tequila.
Right.
And I will admit that I totally do not understand Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah.
Right? Because I've heard that it's a holiday, right?
Oh.
But it's supposed to be Mexican Independence Day.
Oh my God! Oh,
But
we're gonna debunk the.
It's not,
no,
right?
this is perfect. No,
So then why do we
is not.
celebrate? Like
So
I feel so, this day I'm so conflicted.
there is
so
so
conflicted.
much that we're gonna learn today. This is gonna be fantastic. Okay.
I'm ready.
All right. So basically, we're just gonna sort of get into like what this is really all about. Like, it's not supposed to just be some massive drunk fest here in like the United States of America. There was like,
I feel like we just make every holiday a drunk fest, but continue.
right? Totally. Okay, but I got to continue with word of the day first because I mean,
Oh, yes,
I'm
yes,
not
yes,
spoiling
yes,
the whole thing. We have to drag this out, Amanda, into a full episode. Okay, we
let's
can't
go.
just be like Cinco de Mayo is not
but
Mexican
there's
Independence Day.
history,
I know.
I'm sure.
I got
so
it.
It'll take time.
I got it. Okay, word of the day. We ready?
Yes.
Okay. Contumacious.
I'm sorry. Contumacious?
Contumacious.
Sounds like you consummate, but that's not the right.
That would be a way better word. Can I ask you a question? Did you take Latin?
My children are learning Latin
No, but
right
did
now.
you take Latin? Because
I did
in one
not.
of our episodes before, you were like, "Hey, Latin roots. You always
Yeah.
go back." So I took Latin for 4 years.
Oh, I didn't. I've never taken Latin.
Yeah,
I'm
and-
learning it right now
Okay,
with Addie.
It helped me a
So
ton,
I have
like
a
in everything.
Third grade.
Okay, but that's why you go back
Yeah,
to the roots of
there you
Latin. Okay, so contumacious, not what did you say? Consensuous?
to consummate.
No. Oh, consummate.
They're not nearly
Right,
close.
okay,
it was
whatever.
just funny.
Right. Okay. It means rebellious. Contumacious. Being
Gracious.
rebellious.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
All right, whatever.
Huh.
All right. So that's what we got to go for. We just got to figure out how to work
Wait,
rebellious
wait.
in somewhere. Are we ready to roll?
But isn't that what Cinco de Mayo is
What?
about? A rebellion of some sort?
Oh.
I don't know. Is it?
Yes, it is. We'll be able to. Okay.
Just
I think we'll be
checking,
able to use
checking.
this. Thank you.
Okay, but first,
What?
like I have to know.
Wait, do you have, like, are you on the edge of your seat? You
I
have
do.
to know.
I do. Before
What?
we start.
What?
Okay, so Cinco de Mayo
Yeah.
isn't Mexican Independence
It is
Day
not.
anymore, right?
No, it is not. It never was. And spoiler alert, they don't even really celebrate it in Mexico, like at all.
I didn't know that they didn't
Yes.
celebrate. I knew
Except,
that.
except for one place that we're going to explain where this whole thing went down. But anyway, continue. What's your question?
So why do we know it as Mexican Independence Day?
Because we're dumb Americans.
Okay, well
That's it.
let's get a little sophisticated. Here we go. Sort of sophisticated. 1, 2, 3. Wait. So if it's not about Independence Day,
Yeah.
then is this why we're going to be a little bit more cultured and curious?
Well, we're going to be cultured and curious because we got to stay like true to the tagline here.
Well,
you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Sorta sophisticated, cultured and curious.
I think you made your jingle.
Okay, we got to jingle it.
Literally going to be the jingle.
Okay, so it's in the title, right? Like the whole reason we have to learn about this is what makes more cultured because it's totally misunderstood. The whole point that you're making, like, oh, it's Mexican Independence Day. Like, that's the thing. Like, if we want to care more and have more self-awareness, more perspective, then we need to learn like what the hell is going on in other countries.
I mean,
not just ours. Like
or
that,
even like the holidays we celebrate.
right. Step one.
Because
right.
I feel like we just sometimes go through life, right? Go through the motions.
Right. We just go through
We
motions.
don't know.
Yes, absolutely.
Fair.
So that's one piece. And then the other thing is, well, I'm going to get to it later, but this sort of went down during the Civil War. So like there is like a global implication. Like there's a piece of like
Okay.
we were having a civil war, and so some other people, France, started taking advantage of the United States who was having a civil war and like went down to Mexico and did some shit. So like they're like there's like a whole global implications piece of this. So again,
This
that
is
makes
much
it
deeper
right,
than like
right.
one would assume.
Yes. And then honestly, sort of at the end, back to like Trivial Pursuit, like the more shit we know, the faster we can win the game. Yay. I'm like,
Here we are.
let's go. So that's why it makes this culture curious. Okay.
Okay, wait, but so did it like actually start? Because we celebrate on Cinco de Mayo, which
Right.
is May 5th.
Right.
Is that like the actual day, or
Okay.
did we just butcher that too?
No. Okay. No, it's the actual day. It's the actual day. Okay. You're
so
right.
the day of something.
Yes. Right. Yes. Not Mexican Independence Day. It's actually about a specific battle that went down. Okay. May 5th,
Yes.
1862, in this little town
A long
called,
time ago.
yes, a very, very long time ago, Puebla, Mexico. Not Pueblo, not town. Puebla.
Okay.
Puebla with an A, Mexico.
Still there. Today.
It's a little town. It's a little her because it ends in A.
Still
Yeah,
there.
still
today?
there. Puebla,
Okay.
Mexico. A Mexican army of like 4,000 soldiers like take on a French army about like 1.5 times their size.
It's
So
like 6,000.
yeah, like 6,000.
Okay.
Yeah. Más o menos. Right.
I mean, that's. You're
I just threw the Spanish in there.
I don't know if that was cultural
Más
appropriation,
o menos.
but
Más o menos for our listeners means more or less. Okay, just to be clear, like France at that time was like that was Napoleon. Well, it wasn't Napoleon, but it was like Napoleon III, I think. So like France was a badass.
I'm over here like, how many Napoleons?
Okay,
were there?
whatever.
Was there
But-
not just one?
All right, here's
A
my
short little
here's my
one?
point.
I
At
digress.
at one point, France was the superpower, the military superpower.
Yes,
This
yes,
was that time,
Okay.
and Mexico
So
was.
they were destined to lose.
Yeah. Right, okay.
in theory.
This was David versus Goliath.
Okay.
Like you understand this. Okay.
But why was France? I mean, you said that the Civil War was happening in the U.S.
Yes.
So then France decided to take advantage and invade Mexico.
France. Right.
But why?
Why? Okay, I had to look that up because I had no idea why.
I
Right?
mean-
Because I was just like
I still don't have an idea. so.
Googling the Battle of Puebla with an A. Okay, so the French were hoping to like get like an emperor guy in charge of Mexico. Okay, so here's why. So Mexico actually owed France money because Mexico was just coming out of this whole civil war that they had, and the only way to like support a civil war is to go borrow money. So they borrowed money from like England and like a few other countries, but like France was like a main one too that they borrowed from. So France was pissed.
Because they were developing.
Yes. So
Okay.
yes. So France was like, no. Like if you can't pay me back, then dumb shits. We're coming down there and we're gonna put like an
We're
emperor.
owing you. Yeah.
We're gonna put an emperor guy
We're
in
calling
charge.
our note. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
We're gonna do the whole colonializing,
Colonialism. Yep.
colonialism, that thing,
Okay.
right? And then honestly, Mexico they got a little like contumacious, if I may say so, right? Rebellious.
Wow.
I just did that.
Well played.
That was so
well
fast.
played.
Okay.
I wasn't expecting that.
just Popped right
Got
in.
there.
Okay.
Okay, so Mexico owed money to France.
Yeah.
And it was because they were developing their country? Like, why did Mexico need the money?
Mexico needed the money because they were fighting the Civil War, so they were like out of money.
Mexico itself was also in a...
Mexico itself had been in the middle of a civil war. They were coming out of
So
it.
the U.S. had a civil war and Mexico had a civil war.
U.S. hadn't started the Civil War. This was back in 1861. The United States
So
had
this
not
is
started the Civil
pre
War.
that.
Yes,
Understood.
yeah. So this was more like Mexico was in rebuild mode. And what do you do when you're in rebuild mode? You go to borrow money.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
And here
Got
we
it.
are. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, because the Mexican Civil War was in the 1850s or something like that.
So they were
Right.
broke,
Yes,
needed money.
absolutely.
France said, we'll give it to you.
Yeah.
They wanted their money back.
Right.
Mexico said, sorry. France
Well,
said,
'cause-
we'll take
well,
your land.
I will tell you this: Mexico fully intended on giving him money back, but then,
Yeah.
like in 1861, this dude, Benito Juarez,
Okay.
he gets elected because apparently that's what you do back then in 1861 in Mexico. They have elections. Go Mexico! And he was like, "Dude, you can't pay these loans." Like, so he was the renegger,
Huh.
right? Benito Juarez. So anyway, so my point of all this was good old Juarez, who was a smart man, just basically said, we're not going to do this. You know what he did? He did the same thing that the United States did to England. He wrote a strongly worded letter to France. And he said,
Fair.
it's not you, it's me. And I'm sorry.
We're breaking up.
We're breaking up. So we're not going to pay you for a few years till we got our shit together. And that's when France was like, yeah, no.
I have an idea. I'm
I
going to
got-
come take your land.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're going to beat the shit out of you, take your land, and put in emperor, some guy named, Jacques Cousteau as their emperor. Okay.
You could have just gone Monte
Whatever.
Cristo or something.
Right. Yes.
Just
Okay,
kidding.
fine. That was level 7 line all the way. Wait. Okay, so can I get to the battle now?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so Battle of Puebla. So some guy named General Ignacio Zaragoza, some total badass, right? Okay, do you remember the David and Goliath story?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know Bad News Bears? Do you know this reference at all?
Hold on. Bad News Bears.
Do you know? I don't know where it comes from. I just know it was a 1976 movie with Walter Matthau.
No.
The bunch of baseball kids.
Yeah.
And it was hysterical.
But wasn't
and
it
funny.
about, what was the title? Was it called Bad News Bears?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, JK.
Okay. Yeah.
Nope.
That's all I know. All right. Don't remember. Okay. Anyway, same concept, right? The whole like little guy versus big guy,
like
right?
misfits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally unprepared. Like,
Okay.
yes, Island of Misfit Toys. Right. You get the whole idea. And it's Mexico. Like, and I'm not shitting on Mexico. I love Mexicans. But like, I mean, it's like 1860 or something. They probably have like sticks and rocks, right? It's not like they have like real ass weapons.
They're not a developed nation.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Thank you for making that.
Sort of sophisticated.
I really
yeah.
appreciate it. Right.
Yeah.
But they're badasses because Mexicans are badasses
Yep.
and they're resilient as like fuck. Right.
Yeah.
And so they're like ready to go and probably hopped up on all this caffeine from the cocoa plants down there or something.
Huh.
I don't really know,
I
but
mean,
that's what
that is one
they're
way to look
smoking
at it.
something down there.
Okay.
Let's go. And so they basically beat the shit out of France.
That was not expected.
Done and done.
I'm
Battle
sure.
of Puebla.
Done.
Finished. Over. Win. Now,
How long was it?
I don't know, like 5 minutes.
Really?
They
Was
kicked
not
their
long.
ass. It was
Okay.
not long. No.
Okay.
No. Like France.
France ran back with their tail between the legs.
But
Okay.
like, let's be honest. Long story short, like it's one of those they won the battle but lost the war. You've heard of this
Yes.
saying before.
So,
Okay.
won
That's
the battle.
yes. So then
How
France
did
was
they
like
lose the war?
because France was like, okay, we just bring more people and more money and more. Is this a French accent? I don't
No,
even know
it's
what I'm
not.
doing.
It's
Okay.
not.
Anyway, they brought a
Sorry,
bunch more
Eric.
people, and I'm right. I apologize to all the French people. I've just probably just totally embarrassed myself. And they just came back and kicked their ass. So actually, France ended up like, I don't want to say winning the war, but France ended up like winning sort of more long term and put in this emperor guy for like 4 or 5 years. So Mexico got screwed.
They
Mexico ended up
actually-
like losing, like
Okay.
it all like sense and purpose. They lost, right?
By the end of it, yeah.
Right. Yeah. And then it wasn't until like, I don't remember, like 1866 or 1867, like 5 years later, so that finally Mexico got around to kicking out France, and maybe France didn't care anymore. I didn't look all that part up. I'm not that sophisticated. But like France won, Mexico lost, but this Battle of Puebla stuck as sort of this like this symbol of resilience.
Right.
Th-
Because
like-
they won.
It was like a fuck you to the man.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That's the concept anyway. So I hope this is all making sense. I was rambling.
It does.
Okay.
So just Cliff Note version is
Yes. What?
Battle of Puebla. They won, but France came back, basically took over,
Yes.
ruled, occupied for 4 to 5 years.
Yes.
And then the Mexicans like rose up
Yes.
and overthrew that
Yes.
ruler, and
And here we
that
are.
was
They were
the
back.
Mexican independence.
No.
No.
So that's
So
a whole
what?
other right. So Mexican independence is way different, and that goes all the way back to 1810. But I don't want to get into that one right now. So hang tight. I want to know a little bit more about like all the research you came up with. Like you got to talk to me a little bit about how this whole thing that's ended up in the United States. Then, right? We got to do full subject change.
Yeah, I mean, I totally just really was fascinated by the commercialization, if that's even a word.
It is
Of
totally. That's going to
this
be our next word of the day.
holiday.
Here, I have a new idea. Okay,
But that one's like normal.
Let's
It's a
come up
normal
with-
word.
in a current episode, let's use one of the words we use for next week's episode every time. Do you get what I
Okay,
mean?
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
we just
yeah.
randomly say the word and we say it? No? Okay,
Yeah.
fine. Sorry.
It's a lot-
Continue.
A lot of homework to,
Right, I know.
to follow up on.
Yeah, that's we'd be taking notes, reading through this stuff.
Too
This
much.
is terrible. Way
Too
too much. All right. So get back to like marketing and everything.
Right. So America commercializes everything, right? Or they can commercialize anything, I guess.
That's
I
how we
should
work,
say.
right?
It's true. But we're not the only country that does this. There are other ones that do it as well. So
Dude,
we're not
whoa,
like
whoa,
that
wait,
horrible.
Wait, celebrate Cinco de Mayo? There's other countries that celebrate Cinco
no,
de Mayo?
no,
What for?
No, I didn't mean like celebrate Cinco de Mayo. I just meant other countries find ways to promote random shit
Oh,
or
okay, yeah,
promote
yeah.
shit or make,
Okay, that makes
commercialized
sense.
stuff.
I do get that.
So, well, hold on.
What?
That's not true. Because like Japan and Canada, they actually kind of pseudo celebrate Cinco de Mayo.
Wait, Japan and Canada?
Yeah. So they
Wait,
both
okay.
both have like a strong Mexican population.
Well,
And so they
Canada,
have-
I would get Canada a little bit. Really? They
Yeah.
go over to Japan?
Yeah.
They're hanging out. Japanese people are celebrating in the streets with Mexicans. Cinco de... I have an idea. Let's go to Tokyo.
I don't
celebrate Cinco-
I didn't research it that
Okay,
much.
hold on.
but-
This would be fascinating. This would be the ultimate cultural experience.
See what happens.
We go to Tokyo.
For Cinco de Mayo.
A white dude goes to Tokyo with some Japanese people to celebrate Cinco de Mayo with some Mexican Japanese people.
Yeah.
That sounds fascinating.
Mhm.
I'm in.
Okay.
Let's go. Okay, I have another question though. Now I want to know what these other country celebrations are. Did you look any of these things up? Give me some of these.
No, I did because I mean, we can commercialize anything, right?
I just want to
And-
hear that Americans aren't Oh, Japan. You got to love
Oh,
Japan.
yeah,
Here we
no,
are
you're
again.
on it. I mean, speaking of you being a white dude, they
Yes.
do actually have something called White Day.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's
We've made up?
but
They
it's
love us
not,
again?
It's
We're
not
back
what
in-
you think it is.
Are we
It's
back in
not.
good graces?
I mean, you probably are going to think you're back in good graces because actually what it is, it's a holiday that was invented by candy companies so men would buy women sweets because in Japan, on Valentine's Day, women buy the men sweets. So
Wait,
it's kind of
wait.
like a quid pro quo.
They do? It's backwards?
Yeah, it's backwards. So then we have White Day where you flip it to what we're normal.
So
like our
White Day
normal.
is like our normal Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Mhm.
And their Valentine's Day is really when women buy men's stuff.
Yes.
Oh my God, I'm moving to Japan. I have to. Well, okay, first of all, I have to move to France. Now
have
I have
to
to
move
move to Japan. I'm
everybody.
moving everywhere.
Move
Okay,
everywhere.
whatever. I don't even know what's going on.
Okay, well, on the note of Valentine's Day,
Yes.
so China actually has something that's called Singles Day. And it
Singles Day.
started as a joke
I
because
kind of like this.
amongst all of like the lonely single students, but now it's like one of the largest shopping holidays on earth
Of course it is. It's in China.
because everyone who's single, you just go and buy.
No, there's like 2 billion people in China. Of course.
Fair.
Okay, this is amazing. Okay.
And then in Spain, you have the whole La Tomatina.
Oh, I
Do you
know
know what that is?
Yeah, I do.
I mean,
Yes, that's the
do you
big,
actually, or did you just like derive it from
Okay, I'm not. No,
the tomato?
I have heard of this, and I'm sure I've seen this on Instagram or TikTok. This is the tomato fight.
It is a tomato fight
Yes.
in the streets of Burritos, right? So
Yes,
that started as the big food fight in the 1940s, and it's now just become a tradition.
and that's it. There's nothing else behind that except a food fight, really.
Right. So
That's
all I'm
fascinating.
saying is that Americans commercialize culture, but so do a lot of other
Okay,
countries.
we have to do episodes on all these things. Can we just write this stuff down? We have to do
Have
episode
a
on
random holiday episode.
Yes. No, I mean, why not teach people about La Tomatina
I mean, it's true.
or
it's
Singles Day?
true. I agree. We could do it. Okay, go start making your calendar for all of them.
I think that's a good idea. Okay, so that was like the totally misunderstood part. I think we pretty much covered that, right? Between the history and your little segue on commercialization. Okay, what about tacos and tequila? If we're staying like true to the whole podcast title, like why not horchata or like pan dulce, like real stuff? Like why alcohol? Like why did
Why
Americans
I started
pick
talking
alcohol?
about commercialization because marketing, that's it. The core of everything, right?
Fine.
So in the 1980s, U.S. beer companies, especially Mexican imports like Corona,
Oh my
you
God.
know,
The
one
Corona.
of
Yes.
your favorites,
Let's go.
it realized that Cinco de Mayo was a golden
Corona.
opportunity to sell beer. So they decided to launch these massive campaigns that connected Cinco de Mayo to partying, aka drinking, and the rest is kind of history. Everyone selling alcohol jumped on board. So you have bars, restaurants, whoever, whatever. And since most Americans had no idea what Cinco de Mayo actually is in the first place, it was easy to kind of make up your own story
Oh my
and get on the
God.
bandwagon.
Okay, first of all, I love Cinco de Mayo, so I'm not gonna lie. But I mean that is really like kind of effed up that we're just like, yeah.
Well, right. That's why when you're talking about the meaning of it, I was like, I am obviously an
Right.
American.
I'm glad
who
I'm
didn't
glad
realize
that we know this. Yes, I'm
the
glad
bigger
we're learning.
history
Okay, you just did beer. Why tequila?
because tequila is uniquely Mexican. It can only be made in a specific region of Mexico, mainly Jalisco, and it must be distilled from the blue agave plant. So
Really?
it's actually legally protected, kind of like champagne is in France, right? Same concept.
Okay, so I'm not like a huge tequila drinker, and shame on me for not being
I love tequila.
sort of
It is my
sophisticated
favorite.
here. I did not know that tequila had to be made in Jalisco, like
Yeah.
Mexico. Like, I didn't know like it was a purely. I didn't know it was like champagne
It's
in
like
France.
champagne.
Oh,
Yep.
my, that is
Same
wild.
concept.
Oh,
So
okay. This
you-
makes a lot of sense now.
Right.
Actually,
That's
like,
why we
okay,
have beer.
I
and
get
it's
that.
not.
I
Yeah.
get this.
So
Okay.
then, so you take a working class, like a romance drink that was a symbol of Mexican pride, and combine that with some, America marketing, and voila, you now have margaritas on Cinco de Mayo. How to make money?
How to make money, and then you just add tacos because tacos are tacos.
I mean, well, that's
Because I
that's
love
not
ta-
as interesting
Because
or
I
fun
love
actually.
because I love my street tacos.
No, tacos is just kind of a shorthand for Mexican food in the United States.
Wait, what shorthand? What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, because they're easy to make, they're easy to mass produce, and they're totally customizable. So that's kind of sort of it. Nothing really big or fascinating there. We're just
easy.
celebrating.
We're just easy peasy. We have to
Yeah.
make easy Mexican food and
Yeah.
and have margaritas. Okay,
Eating your ground beef in a crunchy shell.
oh, that's wild.
Yeah, but it's not as if like tacos were eaten at the Battle of Puebla or anything, right? So
Why? They should have been. They'd be delicious.
they are delicious, but that wasn't what was happening.
That wasn't
at
what was
that time.
happening?
No, probably not.
Okay, so hold on a
Uh,
second. Time out. So tequila, tacos. I mean, connected to Mexico, but a totally American thing. We just did what we wanted to do to have fun.
I mean, it's our American.
Okay.
Right?
We Americanized it. I get
Yes,
it. But
yeah,
then like
because if we really wanted to make it like OG,
right,
then we would have been using the official dish, which in Puebla is mole poblano, which is not a taco. And mole has like 30 ingredients and takes hours and hours to make. So tacos are just kind of the placeholder in America.
That is awesome. And besides, who are we kidding? Tacos are way more Instagrammable anyway, right?
They are. I mean.
Okay. All right. So we have this little town in Puebla.
Yes.
That celebrates with, what's it called? Mole, basically?
Mole poblano.
Okay. And then we have a bunch of Americans and a few Japanese and Canadians celebrating in our own weird-ass way.
Yes.
Okay, I get this. This makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but I have a question now.
Okay, what?
When is actual Mexican Independence Day then? Because
Wait.
we can't do a whole episode on Cinco de Mayo and explain how it is not Mexican Independence Day, and then you're not going to tell me when Mexican Independence Day actually is? Because that's not very sophisticated.
That's kind of a solid point. Okay, so I have no idea.
No, you do. You have to.
Okay, you're right. Just
okay.
kidding. Okay.
I was like, I'd be so disappointed.
I was being a little contumacious there. Okay.
Oh, well played.
I was being
played.
rebellious, people. I was being rebellious. Okay, so Mexican Independence Day is celebrated on September 16th every year. And it marks the start
So in Mexico, this is when they celebrate Mexican Independence Day.
This is real shit now.
Okay.
Yes. This is like if you lived there,
This is what you would do. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like our 4th of July for Mexico.
So here's the funny shit about this whole thing. It actually occurred in 1810, like 52 years before the Battle of Puebla.
Okay.
They already had they already had Independence Day going. Like they knew what the hell they were doing.
So
like
this is just when we decided
this
to
is
care?
how dumb America. Like I'm sorry, I shouldn't say like I'm a dumb American, so I don't want to say like we collectively because there's a bunch of smart people out there, and I don't want to piss people off. This is how dumb I was. I'm sitting here like trying to figure all this out. So it starts in 1810, and it was basically when Mexico's war for independence began against Spain. So it wasn't like, like here in the United States we celebrate like when we beat England.
Yeah.
Like here, this is more like when the war started. September 16th, the war started.
So they're celebrating
the beginning of the rebellion. No pun intended. Like I don't think you can use contumacious there, but whatever, because that means rebellious, but not rebellion. You get the idea. Okay. So now you know, right? No excuses. So no mistakes anymore. Me and you, we can't be walking around calling it Mexican Independence Day.
So basically it's like St. Patrick's Day.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's totally same. Do you want to know the origin of St. Patrick's Day in like 5 seconds or less?
I thought we haven't talked about St. Patrick's Day?
We haven't done St. Patrick's Day.
Oh.
No, this was about a dude who brought Christianity to Ireland. Like literally brought Christianity to Ireland and introduced it to Ireland. And here in America, we're like, yeah, green beer, leprechauns, and let's get drunk. Like, we're so...
How have we not done an episode on St. Patrick's Day?
We're weird. We didn't. Yeah. Okay.
Huh,
right?
Okay.
Anyway, I'm ready for fun facts.
Okay, let's
but
go.
I'm going to topsy-turvy this shit on you right now.
Wait, what?
Why don't you do fun facts?
No.
Yeah, come on.
I only know a couple fun facts.
Yeah, just Google that shit right now.
Okay, ready?
Let's go.
Okay.
Give me a fun fact that you think you know. Go.
The only fun fact that I know of has to deal with beer. Ready?
Great start.
Okay.
I love this.
Okay.
Yes.
So Cinco de Mayo has more beer sales than the Super Bowl.
Bullshit.
Especially in the U.S. It is true. Yeah.
No.
Because beer companies go all in on promotions and they advertise and market the shit out of it.
Wait a second. I'm changing my mind. I think you're right.
Corona, right, has absolutely
because there's nothing else.
Holiday.
There's nothing else to market on Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah.
Like when it's a Super Bowl, you can market the guacamole, the avocado, the chicken wings, everything else.
But it's beer.
Okay,
right?
that's fascinating.
And
I love the way that your only fun fact revolves around beer. For someone who I don't.
Well, it's more about marketing.
Do you drink
right?
a lot of beer?
I don't. But it's more about the marketing, right?
Okay, fine. That's pretty good.
Okay, but I have another fun fact.
Okay, what? This is good.
Well, because you're talking about the Super Bowl, right?
Fun fact.
So
fun fact.
Food-wise,
yes, what?
Okay, the world's largest burrito.
The world's largest burrito.
Yeah, it was
Wait,
like this
but
whole
we're talking
thing.
tacos.
Do you remember this?
All right, now I got to look up world's largest taco. Well, you
okay,
tell me about the
okay.
world's largest burrito. I'm looking up world's largest taco.
Fair.
Okay.
But the largest burrito was made on Cinco de Mayo in 1997. You want to guess how much it weighed?
100 pounds.
No, try again.
I hate when you do this to me. 1,000 pounds.
4,000 pounds.
4,000?
Yes. Yeah.
4,000 effing pounds.
Yep. But ironically, it was assembled in Tijuana, Mexico.
So, oh my God.
Yep. So they use like flour tortillas and they lay them out all along several city blocks.
That's insane.
Right. It could have had its own zip code.
Wait, I'm jumping on this. Are you ready? It could have had its own zip code. Okay, here we go. The world's largest taco was created in some place called Querétaro. I don't know. Sorry, guys. Sure. Querétaro, Mexico on November 20th, 2019. 102 meters long, 336 feet.
Dang.
Okay, let me do that math. 100 yards. That's the length of a football field.
Yeah.
Guinness
Yeah.
Book of World Record. The taco was filled with carnitas
Wow.
and required over 1,000 volunteers to prepare it.
That's crazy.
There you
Is it
go.
a flat taco? Like it laid
Wow.
on its side?
Doesn't say. I have no idea.
Huh.
That is crazy.
Okay, but also,
What?
I just want, do they waste all this food?
I don't know. No, people probably like it's like a
No,
whole thing.
how, it's not like,
No, a community comes together and eats it. The
you think
volunteer.
so?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And they have a lot of tequila and margaritas.
okay.
Okay.
Oh, tequila.
You have another fun fact?
No, but I have a
Oh,
question.
what? Go.
Google when our National Tequila Day is.
Oh,
right?
I have
Because
it.
we have
No,
National
it's
Donuts.
one of my fun facts.
Oh, it is?
Yeah,
Oh,
it is.
okay,
Here we go.
okay.
All right. So I'll just skip to that one. Okay. National Tequila Day, July 24th. Thank you
Huh.
very much. Let's go.
You say that you don't like tequila. It should be like,
No, but I
Your
could drink
go-to
like
spirit.
certain tequilas. You know what I mean?
Fair.
Right. Okay, I got a few more. You ready?
of course.
Okay, the largest Cinco de Mayo celebration isn't even in Mexico.
Well, I mean,
Duh, we
okay,
already know
that
this.
kind
Right.
of figures.
I know. Okay.
Okay.
Guess where?
I would assume in the U.S.
Yeah, well, yeah, but okay. Los Angeles specifically.
Okay.
It's called
I
the
mean, that
Fiesta
tracks.
Broadway.
Huh.
Amanda, it attracts over 500,000 people
That's a lot of people.
per year. Concerts, food, parade, you name it. Easily the biggest Cinco de Mayo festival
Huh.
in the world. Thank you very much. Los Angeles,
All right.
California. Okay, next one. The first Cinco de Mayo was celebrated in the U.S. only 1 year after the actual Battle of Puebla. So already in 1863, Battle of Puebla, 1862, in 1863, Mexican Americans in California celebrated the very next year, turning it into a show of support for freedom and anti-imperialism during the U.S. Civil War. Okay, actually, I want to go, I know we're on fun fact, but I want to do a little history thing there.
Okay.
So that was the whole sort of like reason behind like why it started even becoming a thing in the United States. So you remember when you were asking me all about Civil War?
Yes.
Okay. So Mexico had just gone through one.
Yep.
Then they have this Battle of Puebla, which was this separate thing altogether. But then because we were fighting our Civil War, it became an American rallying cry that like if the Mexicans could do this,
We can do it. Yeah.
we can do this. And especially since they had Mexican Americans that were now fighting in our Civil War, they were using that to like spur on basically
Like hope, right?
northern troops like from the north because they were anti-slavery,
Yeah.
right? South was like there was a little bit of both, but like 90% of it was the north.
Yeah.
So the concept started taking root in like that same symbolism
Right.
in the United States, and then 100 years later we commercialized the whole effing thing. But like there was a strand of bringing all
The
this
theory
stuff.
is that it's like a celebration,
It-
right?
yes.
You're
Yeah,
celebrating
I'm just
the
trying to
rebellion.
say we actually
Yes.
like thought this through a little bit.
a
Okay, sorry.
little.
Okay,
Lassie menace.
all right. You did burritos. You did beer sales. That was awesome. Biggest margarita. You know, biggest
They
margarita.
made a big margarita.
Yes, biggest margarita.
Like in a pool?
in Las Vegas, 850 gallons. They had to
That's like a hot tub.
they had to stir it with oars and served it served it out of a glass the size of a freaking hot tub. What do you want
So
me
they
to say?
made a glass for it?
I guess. I don't know. I got to look this up. Okay, finally, spoiler alert. The Cinco de Mayo playlist on Spotify, Amanda, it's heavily American.
You don't say.
Right. It's only got like 10% mariachis, not going to lie. Okay, Pitbull, Becky G, Jimmy Buffett. Let's be honest. Margaritaville is apparently Cinco de
Yeah,
Mayo. Like
that's appropriation. Yeah.
it is.
Okay. okay.
Somehow Jimmy Buffett, the
Is on your-
the whitest dude you could come up with. Rip Jimmy, rip.
Okay, but also,
Right.
isn't Pitbull not even like
I'm just telling you, look up the place. I Spotified this. There's like not even any like Hispanic songs on
Hold
this
on.
whole thing. It's
Pitbull?
terrible.
Where are you from? Sorry, we're in a pause.
Isn't he Cuban? Is Pitbull
Yeah,
Cuban?
he's,
I don't know. I think
he
he
has
is.
to be. No, he was born in Miami, Florida. Yes, to
Okay.
Cuban immigrant parents.
There you go.
But he is our Mexican representation on Spotify. Okay. Okay. Well, I love all those random fun facts, and
That's what we do. Thanks for playing along. You threw in like 3 of them this time. Good work. I think we should
it
do
was
fun
fun.
facts from now and like let's just Google them like on the fly as we go.
We kind of
then, like,
did.
you could
It
do
worked.
something.
It worked out well. It worked out well.
Yes. Well, that's what you did. But I mean, I had mine prepared. But like, yes, we could both do that. And just be like, okay. The thing is some of them are dumb though, so you have to like comb through some.
Okay,
you know.
fair.
All right. Anyway,
But
what? Oh, this is the part
We're-
where I have to like sum up an episode for you so you can
You do,
remember.
you
so
do.
you're ready for
Mostly-
Trivial Pursuit.
mostly so we can go get some tacos and
Okay.
tequila.
I'd like to have a game night with you and I on the same team now.
Yeah, great. Because
I think we will kill everyone. at
I mean,
Trivial
we
Pursuit now.
did when we went. Remember, we went to dinner
Oh, we did. Right,
after
right,
once,
right.
and we did
we had a
really
trivia
well.
night.
And by we did really well,
Yes.
you did
No.
really well.
Like, okay,
I just wrote.
whatever. Okay, fine. Are we ready for
That's
this?
my job. Yep.
We have to pay attention because this is meaningful stuff here. Okay. Usually I do like a whole call to action thing, but on this one it's just like remember the important part of Cinco de Mayo. That's
And
like
be
my call.
respectful.
Be respectful.
Yep.
That's my call to action. Okay. Here's my summary. Cinco de Mayo is not Mexican Independence Day. We know that. That's September 16th. Cinco de Mayo commemorates the Battle of Puebla in 1862, where a small Mexican force defeated the mighty French army against all odds, people. Think of Phil Collins singing Against All Odds. Okay. Number 2, the real meaning behind this whole thing was resistance and resilience. It's about standing up to imperialism and defending national sovereignty, even when you're outnumbered and outgunned. Sticks and rocks, baby.
Outgunned.
David and Goliath. Right? Let's go. Okay. Number 3, it's not even a holiday in Mexico outside of Puebla. We just talked about that whole thing, right? Most of Mexico treats May 5th like any other day. Only in the U.S. do they celebrate, really. And a little bit of Japan.
Technically not Mexican Independence
Correct?
Day.
Yep. Number 4, the U.S. made it a party for good reason. Mexican Americans began celebrating it during the Civil War as a symbol of freedom and cultural pride. Then corporate America took over 100 years later and drove us straight to Margaritaville, people. Bum, 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 bum. Okay. And number 5, guys, like Amanda said, it's not just an excuse to drink unless like you want it to be. If you're going to enjoy tacos and tequila, at least know the backstory, because nothing says sophisticated like sipping a cocktail and casually dropping facts about Napoleon III.
It's true.
There it is.
It's true.
The French guy who wanted to take over Mexico and started this whole thing.
You'll be the smartest one in the crowd.
You will.
Here we go.
Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Ching,
Well,
ching.
all right, dear listeners, there you have it. The tacos, the tequila, and the totally misunderstood history of Cinco de Mayo. So the next time someone says, isn't that Mexican Independence Day? You can lean in and say, actually, it's about a surprise military victory over the French.
Yes.
And then you can explain how it somehow turned into a beer commercial.
Right.
As you all are out drinking and
course.
eating tacos. But look, Cinco de Mayo is more than theme parties and questionable sombreros. It's a real moment in history, a story of resistance, pride, and a David versus Goliath win that inspired generations.
Amen.
And if we've done our job today, you're leaving sort of sophisticated, maybe even with a historical nugget to casually drop at your next Taco Tuesday. If you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with a friend who thinks margaritas count as cultural appreciation. Until next time, remember, behind every party, there's a story. So stay curious, stay festive, and please don't say Cinco de Drinko.
Love it.